Hello everyone. So in this part, I will talk about some other examples of Gauss's law, and I will tell you how to calculate the flux due to some other surfaces. Here, mostly due to cubes and the cylindrical surfaces. So let's have a look on the first example. So here I have this charge placed at the center of the open cylindrical vessel, and we need to find the electric flux to the surface of the vessel. So let's look at this. So as we know that to apply the Gauss theorem, it is essential the charge should be inside a closed surface. So here the charge is placed at the center of the open end of cylindrical. So that this is our actual surface, and dotted one is basically we are imagining. So this is our actual surface, and charge is residing here. So now, as this for Gauss's law, as we know that this for Gauss's law to be valid, the integration, if I have described earlier, that is over a whole closed surface. So we need to make this surface closed. So if we just make this surface a closed surface by imagining this other half of the cylinder, then the total flux should be any surface, as we know that irrespective of the size and shape of the surface, if there is some charge inside some closed surface, the total flux will be q by epsilon naught. So flux to the total surface will be q by epsilon naught. And if you just imagine as we have only the half of it. So and as it is symmetric about this position of the charge, so we just will, as we have the half, so we have this flux through this surface will be q by 2 epsilon naught. So this is an example. Let's have a look on the other example. So here we have a cylinder of radius r and length l, and which is placed in a uniform electric field E, which is parallel to the cylindrical axis. So here we have a cylinder, and this x axis is basically the cylinder axis, and the electric field also is along x direction, that is in I cap. So I cap is basically the unit vector along x direction. So this is basically the pictorial scenario. So this is our cylinder, and so from this surface the unit normal will be n cap will be minus I cap. From this surface, for this surface, this circular surface will be unit normal will be n cap is equal to I cap. So I just marked this region 1, 2 and 3. So for 1 the n cap is minus I cap, for 2 n cap is I cap, and for 3 n cap is k cap. As you can see, this n cap is along z cap. So for flux through region 1, if you just denote it by phi 1, then integration of E dot ds will be E is basically constant, which is along I cap, ds I cap dot I cap, and it will be just pi E pi r square, and the flux to the region phi 2 will be equal to basically E dot ds, basically this region, it's basically minus E pi r square. And flux to region 3 phi 3, as you can see, this is our electric field is along I cap, but the n cap is along k cap, so the dot product is 0, so basically 0. And if you calculate the total flux phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3, it will be 0 to the surface. So let's look on this last third example. So here we have a charge q which is placed at the center of the cylinder, shown in the shown in the figure. So the cylinder has radius r, and the charge is placed at this point q naught, and we need to find the electric flux through the curved surface. So what we need to do is basically we need to consider again we need to consider this find the electric field in this. So curved surface means along this point. So here we need to find the electric field. So at this point, electric field, if you know E denoted by E, is basically, you know that k q naught by r square plus r square, because this distance is, if this is the cylindrical radius, and this is the some distance r from the center, so r from the position of the charge. So this is basically the hypotenuse, which is basically r square plus r square, and which is k q naught by r square plus r square. And if you just substitute here, and you know that the formula for phi is basically E dot ds, which is E dot E ds cos theta. And if you just substitute E value of E, ds is basically for the cylindrical, and if you consider this annular region, it will be, the area will be 2 pi r dr. And this cos theta you can write, if this is angle theta, then basically cos theta, if this is the angle theta. So this triangle I am just maximizing it here. So if we just draw this triangle here, and this is angle is theta, then it will be cos theta will be r by r square plus r square. And if you just integrate over all the radius minus r to plus r, so it will be like this integral. And then if you just calculate the integration, so as you can see, this is the even function of r, so small r. So we can just write 2 into 0 plus r, 2 into 0 to r, and this integration, and if you do the integration you will get this q0 by root 2 epsilon naught. So which will be the flux to the curved surface, means these surfaces. So next, so now we have a hemispherical surface. So let's first look at the question. So a hemispherical surface of radius r is in a constant electric field E, which is directed perpendicular to the base as shown in the figure. Determine the flux to the curved surface and the circular surface. So here we have the hemispherical surface, and this is the electric field. And as you see, this electric field along this direction and cap is along this direction, so their angle between them is basically theta, and ds, as I already described, which is basically r square sine theta d theta d phi. And if you just do the integration, e dot ds, e cos theta into ds, and if you just substitute the value of ds here, and this will be basically the integration in limit of the phi limit is basically 0 to 2 pi, but the theta, as it is the half sphere, so theta will go from 0 to pi by 2 instead of 0 to pi. So it will be like e into pi r square. And if you just calculate the, this is basically from the for the curved surfaces, and if you just calculate for the circular surfaces, that will also be equal to e pi r square. So total flux will be e pi r square plus e pi r square 2 pi e r square. So let's have a look on the next example. So we have a closed Gaussian surface consisting of a hemisphere and circular disc of radius r. So basically the same example. This is basically the hemisphere and this is the circular disc. So now it is basically along this orientation is along this. So we have a hemisphere and circular disc of radius r placed in a uniform electric field, same as the earlier example. Here also it is placed in a uniform electric field, and shown in the figure, this figure. And the circular disc makes an angle 30 degree with the vertical. So this circular disc makes an angle 30 degree with the vertical, and the flux to the electric field vector coming out of the curved surface of the hemisphere is. So now here, so as you can see, the electric field is this angle of the circular disc which makes with the vertical is basically 30 degree. So now we can just orient the surface like this, so that such that the electric field is parallel. To this z axis in this picture, and it makes an angle this circular disc is basically making an angle theta with this, and basically the electric field is making the angle, because here you can see this electric field is making an angle 30 degree with this. And if you just take the component along this z axis and x axis, it will be e cos theta along z axis and e sin theta along x axis. So it will be like, so what we are doing is basically, this is our original picture. We are just transforming the picture into this, such that we can just take the component. So it will be so the electric field will be like e into root 3 by 2 k cap plus half of I cap. So now we have the r vector for in the spherical polar coordinate, which is basically sin theta cos phi I cap, sin theta sin phi j cap, cos theta k cap, and r dot k is basically cos theta, and r dot I is basically sin theta cos phi. So now what I need to do is basically you need to calculate the flux to this surface, total surface. So phi e will be e dot ds, and e into this vector, e is basically this, and r square sin theta theta d phi r cap. And now if we just take I k cap dot r cap, which is basically this, which is cos theta from this equation, and I cap dot r cap, which is basically sin theta cos phi from this equation. And if you substitute this, so you will get some equation like this. And similarly here also this sphere is half sphere, so the theta will go from 0 to pi by 2 instead of pi, and phi will always go from 0 to 2 pi. And if you integrate it, so this integration will give you 0, but this will give you some integration value. So this will give root 3 e r square 2 pi into half, so it will give root 3 pi e r square by 2. And since this phi is equal to 0 to 2 pi, cos phi d phi is 0 along in this integral, right? So the general formula, we can generalize this. The general formula is basically e cos theta pi r square. So if theta is 30 degree here, so cos theta is basically cos 30 is root 3 by 2, you will get this formula. And in this case it is e pi r square. Theta is basically 0, as you can see e is along this n cap, so this theta is equal to 0, so basically e pi r square. So if you substitute 0 here, it will be e pi r square. So this will be a general formula, most general formula for this hemispherical surfaces. So this is this theta is basically the angle between the n cap and electric field. So this you need to remember. So this is the most general formula for this type of questions. So now let's have a look. Let's have a look on other example. So if you have a total electric calculate, so here we need to calculate the electric flux and flux related to each vertices of a cube. So here we need to calculate flux for a cube. And when a charge is placed at the center of the cube, at the end of the cube, and plane of the cube. So here is basically, you know that cube has six faces of equal area, and each face from each face the flux will be, total flux will be phi u, which is q by epsilon naught. But for each face it will be q by 6 epsilon naught, because it has six faces. And now because at each face of cube is basically in symmetry, and the total flux will be phi into 6 into phi s, which is q by epsilon naught. It is true. Now if you place the charge at the end of the cube, so as the cube there are four corners of each surfaces, and therefore the total flux bound to be q by 4 epsilon naught, and the leaving out flux to the any face will be 1 by 4 into q by 4 epsilon naught, which is 4 q by 16 epsilon naught. And now if you place the charge at the plane of the cube, then basically so as we know that as in cube each surface has two part, flux bound to each cube is basically q by 2 epsilon naught, and flux leaving that leaving out flux to the any of one face of the cube will be 1 by 5 into q by 2 epsilon naught, which is q by 10 epsilon naught. So this is an example for cubes, and now I will describe so on these examples for cubes. So now let's have a look on this example. So what will be the flux, total flux to the faces of the cube with side of the length a, which is a side of length a, and if a charge is q placed at the corner of the cube. So I will just describe each and every example one by one. So first case is basically the charge is placed at the corner of the cube. So here, as for example, so now here if you place the charge here, so or any of the corner, so you can just consider this q here, and you can just consider eight identical cubes which are required to charge q. So this q, if you just place it here, and you just need 8 other cubes to basically make it closed. So as you know this, for Gaussian surfaces you need the closed surface to be applied, the Gaussian law to be applied. So to close this close this charge at the corner, you need other 8 cubes. So basically, so total flux to this total big cube is basically q by epsilon naught, and if you just remove 8 cubes, it will flux through each of the cube will be q by 8 epsilon naught, right? So as I written here, 8 identical cubes are required so that the given charge q appears at the center of the bigger cube, right? So it is now closed, and then basically flux through this total big cube is basically q by epsilon naught, but you have one small one, so that's why we have 1/8 of that, so it will be q by 8 epsilon naught. So the next part is basically, so the midpoint of an edge of a cube, so it is placed at b. So now if it is placed at placed at b, then you will be needing 4 other cubes to basically make this charge to be at the center, right? So the so if you just place this at the, so if you just place the charge at the b position here, so you will be needing these 4 other cubes. So the total flux will be q by epsilon naught to the bigger cube, but for each one of the cube the flux will be q by 4 epsilon naught, 1/4 of the total flux, right? So the next problem is basically the center of the cube. So if you place the charge at the center of the cube c, then you will need basically these 2 cubes to cover up this charge at the center, and basically this flux to the each of the cube will flux the total bigger rectangular parallelepiped will be q by epsilon naught, but if you just calculate the flux to each of the surfaces, each of the cube will be q by 2 epsilon naught, which will be half of the flux, total flux. So now so if you just place the charge at the midpoint of between b and c, so this is b and c, and if you place the charge at the midpoint of this point, that is at d, then the flux, then also you will need these 2 big cubes to make this charge q to be at the to be a closed charge. So if you will basically need so if the charge is at d, then also you will need basically 2 other cubes to cover it up. So as we know this Gauss's law to be applied, you need a closed surface, so that's why this is necessary. So so here also these 2 cubes are needed, so the flux through each of the cube will be q by 2 epsilon naught. So this is 4 good examples of this flux through a cube. So now So now if a point charge is placed at the one corner of the cube, so I have already done this flux to be q will be q by 8 epsilon naught, right? So now each phase, so now we need to calculate the flux if a point charge is placed at the so one corner of the cube, then the flux to each face of the cube containing the charge. So now, so if this charge is placed at this point, then charge contained in three phases, right? A H E F, A H E F. So this phase contain this charge. A B G F, A B G F. So this phase also contains this charge, and A B C H, A B C H. This phase also contains this charge. So now in these phases, the electric field due to Q will be in the plane of the phase, and the area is perpendicular to the phase. Hence, the flux through the three phases, these three phases will be 0. So E dot ds will be Es cos 90, which is equal to 0. So the phases where the charge is connected, the charge is connected to these three phases, this AEHF, ABGF and ABCH. So for flux through these phases will be 0. But flux through other phases will be like DEFH, like this phase, DEFG, and sorry DE sorry DEF, this will be G, right? So this will be G, okay, sorry, and DGBC and DCH, H and E. So these three phases are not connected with this charge Q. So flux through each of these three phases will be Q by 8 epsilon, and one third of each, because three of them are not contain the charge, so not connected with the charge. So one third of Q by 8 epsilon naught, which is Q by 24 epsilon naught. So now next example. So now we have an electric field component. So we have the for the following figure, we have the electric field component. So this cube is placed in an electric field, as you can see the figure, and the electric field components are like this: Ex is equal to Ax, and Ey equal to 0, Ez equal to 0, and A is basically charge 400 Newton per coulomb. And calculate the electric flux to the cube and the charge within the cube, assuming that A is 0.1. So flux, as you can see, as electric field is along s direction, so the flux will also exist in left and right of the cube, faces of the cube, as Ex is non-zero here, there only, because other components, the component of E is 0, so there will be no flux corresponding to that surfaces. So E is basically Ax I cap, and NL, because the NL is basically the left side normal, which is minus I cap, and NR basically this right side normal, which is I cap. So now basically the electric field is basically EL dot NL cap S square, because the area of the cube is length square, which is length is A, so it is S square, and ER into ER dot NR cap S square. So this is basically, so if you just do the multiplication, because this distance is basically here, so ER is basically proportional to X, so X is for this case will be A plus A, which is 2A, so that's why multiplied by 2A, and here it is A into A, which is multiplied with A, so 400A and 400 into 2A, and then if you just do this calculation, you will get 400 AQ Newton meter square per coulomb. And so if you get the flux, then basically flux is basically Q by epsilon naught, so you just multiply phi with epsilon naught, you will get the charge within the cube. So now let's have a look on this example of the cube. So the electric field components in the figure. So here also the cube is placed in an electric field, and now the component looks like alpha x to the power half, and other components are 0, and there is a value of alpha. So we need to find the charge within the cube. So similar process, same thing. So E is basically alpha x to the power half I cap, NL is minus I cap, which is the left side normal, and right side normal will be I cap. So similarly, as the earlier example I did, so same thing we need to do, and instead of this, here it is proportional to x to the power half. So first case it will be root over of A, and second case this distance is 2A, so it will be root over of 2A, and multiplied by the area A square. And if you do this, you will get this value, and then if you get pi, and you can get charge Q by multiplying pi with epsilon naught. So now let's have a look on this example. So now if you have a point charge Q at a distance d by 2 from a directly above the center of square of side D. So if you have side D, and if you have a charge which is at the distance d by 2 from this plane, and now we need to find the flux through this surface, and flux through these surfaces. So the flux through this surface will be, because so you need other 5 faces to cover it up, this charge. So as we know, this for Gauss's law to be valid, we need closed surface, so we need 5 other faces to cover this up. So total flux from each of the faces will be 1/6 of the total flux. Total flux, if you just make a big cube out of this by imagining other 5 planes, it will be a big cube, and that from that closed surface the flux will be q by epsilon naught. So for from each of the surface the flux will be q by 6 epsilon naught, right? And now if you just removed a distance d prime from the center of the square and the side of the square is doubled, explain how the electric flux will be changed. So now if you just shift this charge and make this d to be 2d, so flux will be same, because flux is independent of the area of the cube, because flux is basically just q by 6 epsilon naught, as you just see here. So flux will be same. So if you don't agree with this point, so you can just comment and you can just let me know if you have any argument. So now next example. So in this example I will basically compute the flux to a cube by this electrical field method. So by integrating this integrating this electric field equation E dot ds analytically. So the compute the electric flux to the square of the surface of H to L due to a charge plus q located at the perpendicular distance this L from the square, as shown in the figure. Now, so as you can see, for other cases what we need to do is basically this distance is 12, similar to this example, basically same example. Here the distance is d and d by 2, at a distance d by 2 we place the charge. Similarly here distance is 2l and we at a distance l we place this charge. So what we need to do, we need to consider the full cube by imagining 5 other surface like this. And so just what we need to do is basically the calculated field due to this charge is, you know, that plus q charge will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square r cap, and 1 by 4 epsilon 0 q by r square r cap you can write x I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap by r, right? And r is basically square root of x square plus y square plus z square in Cartesian coordinate, and y is basically L on the surface, and area will be dA j cap, which is dx dz j cap. And so this is basically this property of the unit vectors, which is two different unit vectors give rise to dot product will give rise to 0, and two same type of unit vectors will give rise to 1, dot product give rise to 1. And then if you just do that, E dot dA, so which is basically E is basically this, and dA is basically dx dz j cap. Why j cap? Because this charge is placed along this, and n cap will be along y cap, so that is this dx into dz into j cap. J cap is the direction of the n cap. And if you consider a area here, area will be in xz plane, right? And your normal will be along j cap. So if you just do this, and you will get this equation, and then for the flux to the total surface, you need to calculate the flux from minus L to plus L for dx and minus L to plus L for dz. And if you just do this, it will give rise to this equation, and this equation is a simple analytical equation integration you can do analytically. So it will give rise to q by 6 epsilon naught, right? So this will be flux through each of the surface. So as I got here q by 6 epsilon naught, here also from this method also you will get q by 6 epsilon naught, right? So this will flux through each surface, means flux through this one single surface. And now if you consider the total cube, it will flux through will be 6 into this q by 6 epsilon naught, which is q by epsilon naught. And this is basically the analytical equation, analytical integration which is need here, which will be needing here. And you can use these values here according to your variables, and you can perform this integration, and you will get q by 6 epsilon the flux to be from a one single surface. And now if you multiply it with 6, this will be total flux to the cube. So this is how you can do the analytical integration, and you can calculate the fluxes. So now this example, so we have a small plane area rotated in an electric field, in which orientation of the area is the flux of the electric field to the area maximum, in which orientation it is 0. So it is basically, if you have an electric field, and if you have a area, if you just rotate it continuously, so at a time one time will come when the flux will be maximum through the plane square area, and then one time it will be 0. So the for first case, when we know that delta phi is E dot ds, and E dot ds cos theta. When theta is basically 0, your flux will be maximum, and when theta theta will be equal to 0, flux will be E dot ds, which is maximum, and theta is equal to pi by 2, so that flux will be minimum. So the orientation will be, so as I see, the electric field lines are perpendicular to the surface area, then theta is 0, then flux is maximum, and when the electric field lines are parallel to the surface area, flux is minimum. Theta is theta is equal to 90 degrees, cos theta is equal to 0. So now we have a circular ring of radius r made of non-conducting material is placed with the axis to a uniform electric field. The ring is rotated to the diameter through 180 degree. Thus the flux of the electric field change if this does it decrease or not increase. So it is given that ring is circular and made of non-conducting materials of radius r, and is placed and it is placed in a uniform electric field. This means that both electric field and the area vector are parallel to each other. So the flux will be basically maximum. So E dot ds cos 0, which is E pi r square, and now if it is rotated 180 degree, so theta will be equal become 180 degree. So the angle between the area vector and the electric field becomes 180 degree, and the flux will be minus of E pi r square. So now this is an example. Okay, so in this example, basically you have these two surface. So this surface x square plus y square plus 3z square is equal to a square, and you have another surface x square plus y square plus z square is equal to a square. So now this is an ellipsoid, as you can see. So what we have is basically this charge is inside this ellipsoid, and you need to flux through the hemispherical surface x square plus y square plus z square equal to a square. So now this seems like a complicated problem, but it is not, because this x square plus 2y square plus z square is basically inside this hemispherical surface. So now if this surface only contains the charge, and this surface is basically inside this surface, so that means the charge is inside this hemispherical surface. So that is basically a simple situation, right? So if the charge is in hemispherical case, the charge is in this hemispherical surface. So if you consider the other half of the sphere, means total full sphere charge through the full sphere will be q by epsilon naught, and charge to half of the sphere will be q by half into q by epsilon naught, so that is q by 2 epsilon naught. So this is how we can calculate the fluxes through different cubes and different cylinders and different hemispherical surfaces, and these are basically some easy and some robust examples where you can learn these fluxes, how you can learn to calculate the fluxes through the different type of surfaces like cylinder, hemisphere, and other type of surfaces. So now in the last part of this lecture, I'm going to talk about the coding of these flux rules. So I will just show you how to calculate the flux through a cube when the charge is placed at the center of the cube. So, and you can generalize it to other. So let's have a look at the cube. So now here the flux of the electric field due to a point charge to the cube we need to calculate with the side 2L. So we have a cube of length 2L, and the charge is centered at the origin. The cube center is at the origin, and so you need to calculate the electric flux through the flux due to the electric field of a point charge. So what I did is basically I clear x, y, z value, and I define L to be equal to 1. So L is basically I defining 1 because of this dimensionality and other stuff. So we'll just define L is equal to 1. So I cap is basically 1 0 0, you know, and j cap is basically 0 1 0, and k cap is basically 0 0 1. Right now, so the location, let's place the charge at the origin, that is the center of the cube. So this is the position of the charge. So now if you know that if a charge is placed at the origin of a cube, then basically flux to each of the surface will be q by 6 epsilon naught, and flux to the total surface will be q by epsilon naught, right? So let's see if we got the same result or not. So now r is we need to calculate, which is basically x minus a square plus x y minus b square plus z minus c square whole to the power half, and this will basically root over of x square plus y square plus z square, since we place the charge at the origin. So now the electric field will be q by 4 pi epsilon naught into gradient of 1 by r, so which is basically r cap by r square, same thing, and this Cartesian x y z, because we are doing in Cartesian coordinates. So if you do that, we will get this equation: x component of the electric field, y component of the electric field, and z component of the electric field. So now we just for the sake of simplicity, we just define this q by 4 epsilon naught to be equal to 1, and and we basically substitute this thing, so it becomes basically dimensional, this q by 4 pi epsilon equal to 1, and it become basically this x by this quantity, y by this quantity, and z by this quantity. So now, so if you just plot this thing, and then if you just plot this e subs, which is basically this q by putting this q by epsilon 4 by epsilon to be equal to 1. After putting this, you just plot this electric field, how the electric field look inside the q. So you can just have a look on this. This is how it looks, right? So now basically we need to calculate, let's calculate the flux through the surface z is equal to L. So if you just substitute z equal to L here, and so E1 we need rename as when we substitute z equal to be equal to L, and L is basically 1. So as you can see, this L z coordinate becomes 1, and this becomes 1. So z, all the z becomes 1. And now if you just integrate, if you just take the dot product, because for z equal to L, the n cap will be along k cap direction, so we take the dot product between E1, which is this quantity, and k cap, so this becomes this. And now we need to just integrate this, and you can just visualize also this integrate. You can just visualize this e1 dot k cap. Now if you perform the integral, and you get basically q by 6 epsilon naught. So if you just integrate this q by 4, so now we multiply this q by 4 by epsilon naught, where which we just basically mentioned to be equal to 1, and now we are just multiplying it here, and we just do this integrand 1, which is basically e dot k hat. So this e dot k hat, which is basically integrand 1, we just integrating it from minus L to plus L, and you will get q by 6 epsilon naught. And now this is the flux to the surface z is equal to L. And now if you calculate the flux to all the surfaces by proceeding the same way, so this is the flux e dot, this is the flux to the z is equal to x is equal to L surface, then x is equal to minus L surface, y is equal to L surface, y is equal to minus L surface, and so on. If you calculate one by one, and then you will get the answer q by epsilon naught. So indeed we get the same answer as we just described in the theory part. So this is how you can write a simple mathematical code to calculate the flux through a cube. So I think this is a good lecture series. I hope you like it. And so I have described most of the problem of fluxes through cube, cylinders, and hemisphere. So if you just like this channel, please subscribe to my channel if you are a new viewer. And if you like this, please share my channel for my to support me. And also if you just have any comment about this video, you can just make a comment in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video.